Is Conor McGregor running out of money? Like, is he going broke? After the verdict with his situation, so many of his largest sponsors and business deals all dropped him, right? The alcohol sponsorships, the betting sponsorships, the clothing brands, like all of these groups of people that were doing business with Conor McGregor have now dropped him, right? And so now it just came out today that Conor McGregor is looking to do a boxing match with Logan Paul in the coming months before his return to the UFC. And so in my mind, right, what's going on here is that Conor McGregor has a lot of expensive habits and expensive tastes, right? Yacht, family, kids, bought his mom a mansion, right? An expensive habit, you know, his alcoholism, drug addiction, all of these things. That costs a lot of money. And so if money isn't coming in from these other ventures and different things like that, Conor's got to find himself a way to earn a big fat paycheck, right? And my guess is he kind of approached the UFC first, saying, hey, I need to get back in the gym. I need a fight, right? But the price was probably a little bit on the steep side for the UFC, right? Now let's not dilly-dally around this, right? Conor McGregor is still a huge draw. He's still the biggest name in the MMA space, right? Anytime he makes a tweet, jackasses like me come on the internet and try to interpret, what does this mean? What does this mean for Conor? What does this mean for the sport? What does this mean for the... Yet here we are. Because right now, you know, and Brendan Schaub kind of made this point a few weeks ago, right? I don't take what he says all that seriously, but he did make the point, like, you go from having, you know, $10 million a month coming in the door to zero, now you might start having to sell off some assets, that secondary home, that yacht, that this and that, or find a way to replace that income. And how is he going to replace that income? Fighting, right? So when this came out, and here's the reality, right? Like, what is the shortest route to a quick payday in the combat sports industry? It seems to be fighting one of the Paul brothers, whether that's Logan Paul or Jake Paul. You know, like, if you're a retired fighter, if you are someone who, you know, could use a few bucks, if you are, you know, past your prime and significantly below them in weight, you go ahead and you say, hey, I could kick your ass, right? And then you sign up for a boxing match with Logan or Jake Paul. And that'll get you, you know, 10, 20, 30 million dollars in the door fairly quickly, you know. I think that, if I'm being honest, if it's with Logan Paul or one of these guys, like, you know, Conor's probably going to take in 20 to 30 million at least, right? And maybe that puts a Band-Aid on things for the time being. It'll probably be much more because Conor knows how to sell a fight, right? He's gonna pick at Logan Paul. He's gonna pick at, you know, Logan Paul fought Dylan Dennis, right? So you build a story off of the fact that, like, Dylan Dennis is Conor's buddy. He's gonna avenge it, you know, make fun of Dylan Dennis, or not, Logan Paul's wife again, you know, all these other kind of things. Build it up. People are gonna have to see it. They'll buy the pay-per-view, even though it's supposedly gonna be an exhibition boxing match. Nevertheless, right? They'll get their hands on each other. Logan Paul's gonna, you know, arguably win. And that's that, right? So that's what's happening here. By the way, if you, like, what do you think, right? Do you think Conor is running out of money, or do you think he's cash strapped right now? And when I say running out of money, right, like, I don't mean he's broke and going into bankruptcy, by no means, right? Like, he's got so much money, like, I don't think there's any way he could spend all of it in his lifetime. But what I do mean is maybe the money's not coming in as frequently, so you have to kind of sell off some assets and different things like that to better your financial position, right? Like, there's a lot of times in business and things like that where a company says, oh, like, we're running out of money. Like, no, they're not. They've got hundreds of millions of dollars in assets. They just have to liquidate some of it to get cash get an influx of cash, and then use that to better their sales or their financial position or whatever, right? So in my mind, first of all, do you think that's what's happening? Do you think that Conor McGregor's cash flow is a bit strapped right now? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you wouldn't mind, hit the like and subscribe button. Helps with the algorithm, helps grow the channel. But now the question goes, is he going to fight in MMA again? Is he going to do a UFC thing? Because frankly, what I think is going to happen, right, is he goes ahead and does this fight with Logan Paul, right? Makes a bunch of money doing this, and then I think there's going to be quite a few more, celebrity boxing kind of things that he can do and do fairly well at and make fairly large paydays doing, without putting in all that effort, without there being a huge amount of danger, right? And I think the reality is not a lot of people in the MMA space want to see Conor fight some of these like younger up-and-coming guys, right? I mean, in my mind, right, there's nobody he fights right now in the UFC in the top 10 of the lightweight division or welterweight division where it's competitive, right? Like, I think almost everyone's gonna steamroll over Conor McGregor. The exception might be Michael Chandler, but even then, or like Tony Ferguson, right? That might be a comeback fight where Conor can win. But I don't think even right now, unless he gets I don't even want to call it lucky. Like, if he gets one good shot on Chandler, he could probably KO him. But I don't think there's anywhere that, like Chandler's been in the gym. He's been in training camps. He's been working hard. He's been eating right. He's been taking muscle milk. Right? So it's like the only fights really where I think there could be some kind of parity would be like if he fights Nate Diaz, if the UFC brings him back for some sort of like Nate Diaz trilogy, or brings him back to fight Masvidal, right? Guys who've kind of been out of commission for a couple years are kind of in the same boat. But the guys that have been in the gym all day, every day, like if he comes back and fights any of them, he's going to get killed. He's going to get creamed, right? Because, like, the reality is, we see it. He has not been training seriously since his fight since he broke his leg, really. Like, let's be honest. And so, even guys who aren't at the top of the division, who are going to the gym every day, like, they're ahead of him, right? Unless your name is Tony Ferguson. So it's like, why go back to the UFC unless you're going to get a fat payday, right? And I mean, the reality is, it's like maybe you do it for the fans, but again, what's the payout going to look like? Like, Conor McGregor is like, Dana's going to have to part with $30 to $40 million, I would think, to get Conor back in the octagon. And then it's like, okay, do you make any money off of that? If you put that fight on, you put that pay-per-view on, right? Sure, it probably does some great numbers. But your headlining guy basically takes all the money that it makes, right? Then you got to pay everybody on the undercard. It's like, why part with that amount when I can pay my headliner for a pay-per-view $1 million, and be profitable? Pay Sean DDP $1 million bucks. Pay, and again, like, do they sell as much as Conor? No, but it might be one of these things like. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So the point is, I kind of think that Conor's running out of money, like cash flow, that is. He's not going broke. I do think that, this kind of move to box Logan Paul, that's going to make him a lot of money. And I think that's going to open up the doors for him to kind of have his feet in the fight game, but not do kind of the high-level MMA stuff. Because the reality is, that ship has sailed, in my opinion. Like, I don't think he comes back and is competitive with anybody in the top 10 at lightweight, welterweight, even if he somehow decided he was going to try to make a run at featherweight. Like, no chance. No chance. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time.